Welcome to Mystery Wargaming. I'm John, and this is Rumbleslam. Produced by TTCombat, Rumbleslam manages to fuse two of my favourite things: miniature wargames and pro wrestling. Teams of fantasy wrestlers take to the ring to win glory, fame, and importantly, dosh. From humans to orcs to mushroom people and the undead, Rumbleslam takes the crazy world of wrestling and makes it that much crazier. Today's video will be a match between the Heavy Pounders and the Green Bruisers, the two pre-built teams that come when the game starts set. The rules of the match are simple. You can eliminate an opponent either by pinfall or by throwing them over the top rope. The last team standing wins, or the most valuable team in the ring after 5 turns. So let's meet our teams.
Introducing first, representing Kaiser's Palace, the Heavy Pounders.
The Heavy Pounders are made up of 2 humans, a grappler and a brawler. They're supported by 2 halflings, also a grappler and a brawler. Finally, they have the big guy, an ogre. This team can hit hard, but might not be quite as resilient as their opponents. Speaking of which,
And their opponents, representing Rolling Bones Casino, the Green Bruisers.
the Green Bruisers is an apt name, with an orc grappler and an orc brawler making up the meat of the team, alongside 2 high-flying goblins, a grappler and a brawler. They too have a big guy, a mean-looking troll, who can regenerate lost stamina during the match. The 2 teams start in opposite corners, and the match can begin. First, each team nominates their first activation, and then roll off to see who takes the initiative. The Bruisers get it this turn with the Orc Brawler starting things off. The Orc uses their crowd pleaser ability, giving the rest of the team bonus movement. The Orc bounces off the ropes to set themselves up for next turn. The human brawler is the first one to activate for the Pounders. They too use their crowd pleaser, giving his team a bonus to rope attacks. He immediately puts it to good use as he clotheslines the Orc. Unfortunately for him, the special rope attack didn't phase the green guy. The human follows up with a basic attack, but that too cannot get past the Orc's defences. The other Orc, the grappler, is next. They try their luck at the crowd pleaser, but the crowd are having none of it. This actually limits the Orc in what he can do this turn. So he bounces off the ropes and gets ready for next turn. The halfling brawler runs the ropes, bouncing from one side of the ring to the other to enact a flying headbutt against the Orc grappler. This attack does extra damage, however his follow-up move doesn't do anything. The Bruiser's Goblin Brawler is next. They use their crowd pleaser ability to strengthen his attack. Then he performs a rope attack against the halfling, but to no avail. However, the follow-up attack works and does some damage to the brawler. The other halfling climbs a turnbuckle and uses their bowling bomb to do some serious damage to the Orc brawler. They then grapple them, doing further damage, bringing the Orc to half health. The troll bounces off the ropes and then attacks the halfling grappler, doing some damage. The troll then tries the crowd pleaser, but the crowd are completely indifferent. Time for the ogre to activate. They use their bulldoze move to attack the troll. Not only does the troll take some serious damage, the Bruiser's big guy's also knocked down. The Goblin Grappler performs a rope attack against the Halfling Brawler. But to no avail. They then try some good old mat wrestling. Doing some damage. They grapple a second time, bringing the Halfling close to being knocked out. Finally, the human grappler ends the turn by climbing the turnbuckle and performing a 450 splash on the Orc Brawler. Nearly knocking out the Orc. This time the Pounder's Halfling Brawler wins the roll and will go first. The Brawler climbs a turnbuckle and performs their half fling attack against the Orc Brawler. This is enough to knock out the Orc. I forgot about this next part in turn 1, but some actions allow a wrestler to roll for their crowd pleaser ability without spending an action point. It passes for the halfling, giving him a bonus movement and actions next turn. The Orc Brawler tries to recover, but a blank result fails. The Orc is unfortunately still unconscious for this turn. The Ogre sees the opportunity and picks up and throws the Orc out of the ring.
The Orc Brawler has been eliminated.
This lets the Ogre roll for his crowd pleaser, which the crowd love, giving additional dice to his team's attacks until the end of his next turn. But the Ogre isn't finished. He moves and kicks the troll while it's defenceless, doing a little extra damage, bringing the troll down to half health. Ascending the turnbuckle, the Goblin Grappler performs a snot drop against the Halfling Grappler. Nearly knocking him out. The crowd doesn't seem too impressed, however. The Goblin follows up by attempting to antagonise the human grappler. But his insults are weak and do nothing, so the Goblin just backs away. The human grappler does activate next though, and performs a nearly perfect leg lock on the remaining Orc. This will hamper his movement when he activates next. The human then grapples the Goblin Brawler to no effect. Finally, he gets the crowd on side with his crowd pleaser, giving him a bonus action point next turn. The last Orc backs up from the human grappler. In a state of panic and self-preservation, the Orc uses his extra ability, dosh. This lets him pick up a friendly teammate, such as the Goblin Brawler, and launch him like a missile at the human. It doesn't do much damage, and it hurts the Goblin too, but it puts a body between the human and the Orc. Seen it work the first time. And there's another goblin in reach. He does it again, throwing the goblin grappler into the human this time. Finally, the orc climbs a turnbuckle, waiting to jump off next turn. The halfling grappler moves and attacks the troll, but the troll no-sells it. The halfling then attacks the goblin brawler, doing some damage, before grappling him. The grapple does nothing. So the halfling uses his patented sleeper hold, which does enough damage to render the goblin unconscious. The troll starts his activation by regenerating some damage, before standing up and attacking the human grappler. He must still be a little groggy, and the attack does nothing. He then performs a spinning spinebuster on the human, but again the human is unfazed. The other human grapples the goblin, but the goblin is prepared and it doesn't do anything. The human grappler then just does a basic attack, using the bonus from the ogre, and hurts the goblin grappler. The human then ends the turn by picking up and eliminating the goblin brawler.
The Goblin Brawler has been eliminated.
The crowd pop, keeping his crowd pleaser ability going, and things are not looking good for the Green Bruisers. Turn 3 starts with the Bruisers taking the initiative as the orc dives from the top rope. Hitting a massive jaw dropper on the human grappler, nearly knocking him out, also dazing him. The crowd aren't liking this and boo the orc, limiting his actions. The human grappler responds by grappling the remaining goblin, nearly knocking him out. He then hits a leg lock on the troll, which does damage, but more importantly, limits his already limited movement. The grappler moves away and keeps his crowd pleaser going. The last goblin fails to antagonise the human brawler, before running to the turnbuckle to snot drop the halfling grappler. But the dive misses. The human brawler performs a clothesline on the orc, but completely botches it. He then attacks the goblin, knocking him out. Using this momentum, he attacks the orc again, and wins the roll by so much it instantly knocks the orc out. The human brawler is on fire. The troll regenerates more health before moving towards the halfling brawler. Knocking him out. He then eliminates the halfling by picking up and throwing him out of the ring.
The Halfling Brawler has been eliminated.
The crowd are not fans of this and boo the troll. The remaining halfling gets the crowd on side by bowling bombing the troll. before failing to follow up with a grapple. With no more bruiser activations left, the Pounder's Ogre is next. And he chokeslams the troll, nearly knocking him out, but importantly knocking him down. He then plays to the crowd. Turn 4 and things are looking bleak for the Bruisers. The Pounders take the initiative with the human brawler eliminating the last goblin.
The Goblin Grappler has been eliminated.
To the crowd's delight. But fatigue might be setting in, as he's not able to pick up the last orc. The orc, however, isn't able to recover and remains unconscious. The ogre kicks the troll while he's down, doing enough damage to knock him out. The ogre tries to lift the troll, but he's just too big. So instead, the ogre pins the troll.
The troll has been eliminated.
The crowd are indifferent. They seem to prefer the spectacle of over-the-top rope eliminations. The human grappler moves up to the last bruiser. But it's the halfling who goes for the pin. A kick out. The orc might be borderline unconscious, but he's still got some fight left in him. This leads us to the last turn, where the orc not only gains the initiative, but recovers. He's on 1 hit point, he's outnumbered, but he isn't going down quietly. He performs a rope attack on the human grappler. But it doesn't work. He then tries to grapple his opponent, but again a stalemate. Lastly, he just straight up punches him, which does the trick, knocking him out. Unfortunately, that means the ogre is now able to attack the orc. But the orc is on fire now, blocking the hit. But a rope attack proves too much and knocks the orc out again. A pin attempt by the ogre. And the orc grappler is out.
Here is your winner, the Heavy Pounders.
The winners are the Heavy Pounders. That was a fun game. The match wasn't all that close. Once the Pounders got momentum, they were impossible for the Bruisers to stop. But the match had its moments, from the Orc's desperate flinging of goblins to protect himself, to the human brawler straight up knocking out the last goblin and Orc in the same turn, to the final Bruiser just refusing to take the loss quietly. That's what wrestling's all about, really. Those fun moments, and Rumbleslam feels like it captured them pretty well. With how fun the game is and how quick it is to set up and play and how fun the models are to paint, I feel like Rumbleslam might appear more regularly on the channel, so there's a lot more teams out there, with more notable superstars and free agents to consider, and I didn't even look at using the casino faction rules. So that was Rumbleslam. I highly recommend it if you're a fan of wrestling and fantasy wargaming. If you've been following my Instagram, you might have noticed that I said that this video was most likely going to be Marvel Crisis Protocol. Well, the game mat I ordered didn't arrive in time. And at the time of editing this video, it still hasn't arrived, but if it does turn up in time, that video will be, hopefully, next. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. Take care.